Good morning. Welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. It's wonderful to have you join us today. Thank you to those who have showed up. I know I felt like doing a rendition of Smoke Gets in Your Eyes or something. There's interesting times, huh? It feels like we could have the perception that we're being tested, at least by Mother Nature. I just know for all of us that we're going to get an A on this test. It might take a little time and study, but we're going to get an A. Again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the volunteers to make this a safe space for everyone. I appreciate those online and who are here even for the first time. Welcome to all of you, and thanks so much for the tech support here, Raj and his crew, Rob, and we have a new tech helper today, Joey. Be sure to give a good shout out to Joey for his help. Thanks. It's going to be a great day, a very special day. Our Reverend Myrna Hirst is giving the message, and Leslie Monroe giving us her amazing music. We're going to start with an opening song, Jump Into Your Life. Be Fearless.
By Rick Charette.
Thank you. So sing along. 2, 3, 4.
I trust God in me. All of life is here for me. I take a leap of faith and see all I want comes easily. I trust God in me. All of life is here for me. I take a leap of faith and see all I want comes easily. I jump into my life, abandon fear and strife. Wake up my desire, jump into the fire. I'm flying higher. I trust God in me. All of life is here for me. I take a leap of faith and see all I want comes easily. I trust God in me. All of life is here for me. I take a leap of faith and see all I want comes easily. I jump into my life, abandon fear and strife. Wake up my desire, jump into the fire. I'm flying higher. I trust God in me. All of life is here for me. I take a leap of faith and see all I want comes easily. I trust God in me. All of life is here for me. I take a leap of faith and see all I want comes easily. I trust God in me.
Good morning, and welcome to the Salt Lake Centers for Spiritual Living's Love Streaming, and I'm happy to say, in-person services. Our practitioner holding high watch this morning is Diane Christensen. Diane will be in prayer at home, knowing this service serves the highest and best for us all. Our prayer practitioner today, which we're very honored, is our own Topher Steele, who will be sharing a prayer with us and reading a little later. Our center is a spiritual community that teaches a philosophy for daily living based on spiritual principles and practices universal among all religions. We honor all pathways by which people seek to know and connect with the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness so we can help make the world a better place. Please join me in claiming our purpose statement. Almost. There we go. We are an open, welcoming community, celebrating our divinity, loving our humanity, and nurturing our journey of spiritual discovery. Thank you. We have a windstorm cancellation of Wizards and Crones last Tuesday because of our epic storm. That meeting will be taking place this Tuesday with this week's visioning. Other awesome news, we have a BYO lunch coming up on September 20th, where I would love to see any and all of you. It'll be 12:30 p.m., Grant Park, 6150 South, Main Street. I encourage you to sign up for the weekly newsletter and for all the latest information about what's happening at the center and home office from our website at www.spirituallyfree.org. The overall theme for this month is facing the fear. And today our own Reverend Myrna Hirst will be speaking on the theme, Faith in, Faith of. Next week will be our own Selena Baugh, who will be speaking on the theme, Do you have faith or are you had by faith? Every Sunday at 1 p.m., Reverend Myrna is hosting a community Zoom meeting. You can find a link and drop in on our website. And it's now 12:30. Check the website, it'll tell you everything. Also, the second Tuesday of every month, Reverend Myrna hosts Wizards and Crones. At this time, this meeting is held by Zoom and is a wonderful way to keep connected with your fellow community members. Our practitioners are always available to provide prayer support. You can submit an online prayer request through a link on our website, or if you prefer, one of our practitioners can give you a call. As we move into our service this morning, take some nice, deep breaths and allow the centering music and Topher's reading to bring you into space.
Today I'll be reading an abridged version of I Am There by James Freeman. Do you need me? I am there. You cannot see me, yet I am the light you see by. You cannot hear me, yet I speak through your voice. You cannot feel me, yet I am the power at work in your hands. Only in absolute stillness, beyond yourself, can you know me as I am, and then but as a feeling and a faith. Empty your heart of empty fears. When you get yourself out of the way, I am there. You can of yourself do nothing, but I can do all, for I am in all. I am the love that is laws fulfilling. I am assurance. I am peace. I am oneness. I am the law that you can live by. I am the love that you can cling to. I am your assurance. I am your peace. I am one with you. I am. Beloved, I am there for you.
Surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is open and my arms open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. And I am grateful every moment, every day.
And as I breathe into my own existence the knowledge, the truth, that there is only one presence, one spirit, one divine God. And I know that I am one with it, as I know that each one of you here present, both physically and online, and I know that this presence is in and through everything. There is not one place where it is not. It is in my breath. It is in my heartbeat and my thoughts. And I know that God is present. Its life force flows in and through me as it does for you, this one. Its heartbeat is connected to yours. And you can hear it in unison. And its spirit, its energy encompasses everything that there is about me. And I know that this little grain, this mustard seed of faith that is already in us, that today, somewhere in the music, the word, the spoken word, or even in the camaraderie of each other, that grain, that little piece of faith grows deep within your soul, all the way to the very essence of who I am and who you are. And it reaches out into the world through your expression, through God, that brings it forth, that waters it with experience. And it grows with the sunlight of truth. And this faith that is in you and in me is beautiful. It is all-knowing. And it is specifically designed for you. That one, that presence that God gets to express itself through. The very powerful you. And I am so grateful to know that God's presence is here right now and always. I am grateful for each and every one of you and your faith, for showing up and being present in all things in your life. I am humbled by this. And so in this moment of truth and light and faith and experience, with my heart overflowing with gratitude and love and light, I simply and honestly and with faith, together we say, and so it is. So it is.
Thank you, Topher. Of course, we're stirred up by all those things happening around us. And our feelings, it's important to feel those things. And to think about and pray about what we desire. It's the actions we take that help us prove those things. We talk about practicing a lot here. And it's being in the practice, in activity, that helps us build the faith, those thoughts and feelings, the prayers that we offer, with all the innate desires within them, can be proven out in our activity. This song was introduced to me by Delenn. I had never heard it. We're going to sing it together. It's a fantastic, powerful song. It's called Do Something. Sing along.
Woke up this morning, saw a world full of trouble now. I thought, how'd we ever get so far down? And how's it ever gonna turn around? So I turned my mind to spirit. I thought, God, why don't you do something? Well, I just couldn't bear the thought of people living in poverty, from slavery. The thought disgusted me, so I shook my fist at heaven. Said, God, why don't you do something? I heard a voice, I did, yeah. I created you. Here we go. If not us, then who? If not me and you. Right now, it's time for us to do something. If not now, then when? We will see an end to all this pain. It's not enough to just imagine. No, it's time for us to do something. I'm so tired of talking about how we are God's hands and feet. Well, it's easier to say than to be. Live in such complacency. We tell ourselves it's alright, somebody else will do something. But I don't know about you, but I want to feed this holy fire. I want to stroke this inner fire, walk the walk that lifts us higher. I want to be someone who stands up and says, I'm gonna do something. Here we go. If not us, then who? If not me and you. Right now, it's time for us to do something. If not now, then when? We will see an end to all this pain. It's not enough to just imagine. No, it's time for us to do something. us to do something. It's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something. Yeah.
Thank you. It's time for some very special music. Leslie Monroe has really blossomed. She has made the time to create some new music, and we are blessed by it. I can't tell you all the blessings that have come into my life and the life of this center since Leslie came into our presence and shared her gifts. Besides all of her creative work, she got a new puppy. I just can't imagine how much time that takes. But that adorable life, I'm sure, will give some inspiration to some new songs. Let's welcome Leslie Monroe.
Thank you. The song I would like to share is when we were talking about facing fear this month. It's a song by Janice Stansfield and Jimmy J. Scott, If I Were Brave. And feel free to look the song up on YouTube. There's several versions and they're all wonderful. What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I believed would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? Sing with me. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? You know there are. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? So sing with me. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, would the voice of courage whisper in my ear, maybe this is what I'd hear. I am brave enough to move ahead where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith even when losing my way. What step would I take today? I am brave. Sing with me. What would I do today? I am brave. 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 What would I do today? I am brave.
What a beautiful, perfect song for today. It's my privilege to introduce our speaker today, our Reverend Myrna Hirst. She has worn so many hats in our community. I just can't begin to count them all. I've known Myrna for years, and she's always been out front, leading some kind of project, pushing us along, and just giving so much of herself. So many volunteer hours, countless. She was a practitioner and then went to ministry school, became a minister. She had her own church for a while. We're so glad to have her back with us, sharing her gifts. She will always just be in some kind of activity here. I just believe that. And it's just so inspiring. Her heart is definitely here, and we are blessed by it. Reverend Myrna Hirst.
Hi. Hi. Aloha. Aloha. I like that. That's good. We can do that one. Our clock up here, it doesn't have a battery in it, so I'm using my own clock here, so I will not talk all day long, because otherwise, you know me, I will. Hasn't this been an amazing week? Amazing is the only nice word I can think of, so amazing is what I'm going to say. Honest to goodness, it just keeps coming and coming, doesn't it? We get more and more and more and more opportunities for personal growth, you know. Somebody, I think it was Linda Brewer, used to use an acronym, another AFOG, she'd say. Does anybody remember it? Yeah, this is an AFOG, another friggin' opportunity for growth. And we get them and we get them and we get them. So, you know, everything that needs to be said today has been said by the musicians. I think we might just as well go home now. Or not. But I want to do we'll start with a couple of quotes. This one. Faith, is that right? Huh, okay. Faith is a mental attitude so inwardly embodied that the mind can no longer deny it. Faith means a belief in the presence of an invisible principle and law which directly and specifically responds to us. That's what we're talking about today. It's a feeling, a connection with, or a connection as, whatever we believe is what wants to happen. We were told last week by Cameron when he read the quote from Hebrews about faith being the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And reminded us that faith can be either a positive or a negative. That whatever we put out into the universe is what comes back for us. So when I look at what's happened this week and this month and ever since 500 years ago in February, I just have to say, which way am I going to look at this? Because where I put my faith is where I will see the result. I've got a story I want to tell you. Here we go. Frog and Toad. This is a kid's story. A book by Arnold Lobel. He wrote several of them about the frog and the toad, and it's a kid's book, and they're really all wonderful. But this is a story about frog and toad and having a garden. Frog was in his garden, and Toad came walking by. "What a fine garden you have, Frog," he said. "Yes," said Frog, "it is very nice, but it was hard work." Now that's a belief, and the reason I highlighted that in yellow is because we know that this is so. Whatever we choose to believe is what shows up in our life. That's our message for right now. And by saying what he said, Frog also shared that belief with his friend Toad. "I wish I had a garden too," said Toad. "Here are some flower seeds. Plant them in the ground," said Frog, "and soon you will have a garden." "How soon?" asked Toad. "Quite soon," said Frog. So Toad ran home. He planted the flower seeds, and he looked at the ground, and he said, "Now, seeds, start growing." Toad walked up and down a few times, but the seeds didn't start to grow. Toad put his head close to the ground, and he said loudly, "Now, seeds, start growing." Toad looked at the ground again, and the seeds hadn't started to grow. So he put his head very close to the ground, and he shouted, "Now, seeds, start growing." Oh. And then Frog came running up the path. He said, "What is all this noise?" "My seeds will not grow," said Toad. "You're shouting too much," said Frog. "These poor seeds are afraid to grow." Another thing that Frog puts in Toad's mind, it says, "Oh my gosh, what have I done to my seeds?" "My seeds are afraid to grow?" asked Toad. "Of course," said Frog. "Leave them alone for a few days. Let the sun shine on them. Let the rain fall on them, and soon your seeds will start to grow." That night, Toad looked out of his window. "Drat," said Toad. "My seeds have not started to grow. They must be afraid of the dark." So Toad went out to his garden with some candles. "I will read the seeds a story," he said. "Then they won't be afraid." So Toad read a long story to his seeds. And then all the next day, Toad sang songs to his seeds. And all of the next day, Toad read poems to his seeds. And all of the next day, Toad played music for his seeds. And then he looked at the ground. The seeds all did not start to grow. "What shall I do?" cried Toad. "These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole wide world." And then Toad felt very tired, and he fell asleep. Falling asleep is an important part of the story, by the way. "Toad, Toad, wake up," said Frog. "Look at your garden." And Toad woke up and looked at his garden. Little green plants were coming out of the ground. "At last," shouted Toad. My seeds have stopped being afraid to grow. I know you'll have a nice garden too, said Frog. Yes, said Toad, but you were right, Frog. It was very hard work. It's an interesting thing that what we believe shows up as what we are. Ernest Holmes says it really well. He said, the law of our life reacts to our spiritual or material concepts and builds and rebuilds according to our belief and our faith. That's in the science of mind. So there's a pathway from being afraid and not being able to do things and learning how to do things a little bit and then getting a little bit better at things and then getting a little bit better at that again. And I got to tell you that there are some words that describe what that process is and what is involved in the process. That's what's involved in the process, among other things, is skepticism and is doubt. We start by being so confused about life. When we're young, I know I was, and I think maybe you were too, at a point where I knew that something had to be going on that I wasn't aware of because I just couldn't get a handle on what I was doing with my life. In The King and I, the musical, the king himself has a wonderful way of talking about that, and these are lyrics to a song that he sings. He says, there are times I almost think I am not sure of what I absolutely know. Very often find confusion in conclusion I concluded long ago. In my head are many facts that as a student I have studied to procure. In my head are many facts of which I wish I was more certain. I was sure. Can you relate? I think we can. We begin with not knowing. We begin with believing that we live in a world where we are victims of everything. When I'm 7, 8 years old, I'm a victim of everything in the world. And I think that that's true for many of us. Certainty shows up a little bit later. Michael Beckwith, Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, talks about this in a book that's called Life Visioning, and some of you are familiar with it. And we're going to get more familiar with it over time. We're going to talk about visioning quite a bit in the next little while. In the beginning, he says, in this beginning of our growth, when we're taking baby steps into things, just trying to learn a little bit more about how life works and becoming a little bit better and trying to get out of the victimhood part. Beckwith says we start with a mindset that claims that things outside of oneself are responsible for our life circumstances. Be it God, the devil, our parents, our mates, our teachers, anything that keeps us from accepting self-responsibility for our lives. See, faith is the process of becoming responsible for our own lives. And we start by wondering about everything and not knowing what's going on and just not understanding how the world really works and working on how to get to our next step. How do I quit being a victim of life? How can I pick up the pieces of my own life and help it begin to move, to learn? How can I walk into an understanding of myself? And then for some of us in this room, we discovered the science of mind philosophy. And we started paying attention to what we could do, and we listened to the fact that we can create our own lives. Started by getting good parking places. Did anybody else do that? Yeah. Started by deciding little simple things that we could do. Started by deciding to be skeptical about the fact that our lives couldn't work any better, that we were always going to be victimized by something, by life itself. But we started saying no to that. We started saying, I can do something more. I can be in charge of my life. I can do some things that I don't have to be a victim anymore. I refuse to be a victim anymore. And we find this philosophy. And it seems like such a good idea. I start getting parking places. I start finding nickels on the ground, and then I find dollar bills on the ground. And then something happens that makes my life work better, and I walk into this church, as I did many years ago, and things begin to change. And I begin to realize that I can handle my life a little bit, and it was so good. I found this philosophy in 1998. And the first thing I did, probably a big mistake, for why, is that I took that foundations class. You know what I'm saying, don't you? Yeah, it's a wake-up call. It's a big wake-up call. And it felt so wonderful to believe that there were things that I could be responsible for in my own life, and it was just almost felt too good. But it was one of the assignments of the class was to write for myself an understanding of this new philosophy as I saw it. And I began to be skeptical about this philosophy because I was afraid that I would be victimized by this philosophy again. It's really easy for me, was pretty easy for me, to just accept at face value what was being told me and kind of be a bobblehead. Yeah, okay, sure, absolutely, yeah, you're right. Yeah, and has anybody been there? So I wrote this. This was my creed that I wrote for the Foundations class in 1998. I found it the other day, and I'm so glad I did. It said, my new philosophy and attitude have given me the sense of self-worth I need to change my life for the better. I am able to recognize my talents and share them with others. Is this frightening? Of course. But the truth is that fear is only fear, just as pain is only pain. And this is also part of the experience, feedback that lets me know I'm headed in the right direction. But even in this happy place, there is danger that I will fall into the comfort zone of allowing my new enlightened friends to guide my beliefs into line with their own. I'd been victimized a long time. In this way, I could easily become comfortable with believing everything I read or hear. And then I said, while I love this philosophy, and I want to absorb everything I can, I still must at all times make sure that my thoughts are my own. I plan always to challenge ideas, even my own, and periodically change all that deserves changing. In that way, that victimhood mentality was overtaken by another belief. I had faith in myself. I had faith in our minister. And one of the things that he used to say all the time, and I agree, and I really want you to do the same thing, when you come to this place, don't leave your brain at the door. Don't leave your brain at the door. Trust, but verify. Make sure that what you hear is what you believe, and don't bobblehead. It's too easy to do that. When I started teaching, one of the things that I learned, because I taught adults for a long time, one of the things that I learned too easily is that when I walk into a room and I stand at a podium like this, at a lectern, or in a classroom, walked in and said hi to the students for the first time as a minister, it always also happens, people give over their lives to me. They would assume that everything I knew was right, and their job was to try to follow what I told them to do. I think that's wrong. That's faith in, and it's a good thing. Having faith in life is a really good thing. Can I say that? Having faith in other people around you is so important. It is. Having faith in each other and in life and in our leaders and all of these people, that's important. That's faith in. If I believe that I can have faith in you, if I believe that I can have faith in my leadership, If I can have faith in my teachers, that's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. But now let's talk about faith of, because that's a little different thing too. Faith in implies that there's someone else involved, doesn't it? If I have faith, I accept someone else as my leader, and then I'm a good follower. That's a good thing. But Ernest Holm tells us that when Jesus explained to his disciples that they had failed to heal because of a lack of faith, the disciples protested that they did have faith in God. Jesus explained to them that this was insufficient. They must have the faith of God. The faith of God is very different from the faith in God. Because the faith of God is what happens when we can say to ourselves, I'm in charge. I have within me everything that I need to do whatever I am to do. It implies action, doesn't it? Our music today said something about that. Do something. Do something. Faith in means that somebody else is telling us what to do. Faith of says, okay, I know what wants doing. And I can do that, and I'm going to do it right now. And I know with certainty that I'll succeed. Toad finally got that. He fell asleep. And in falling asleep, he let go of what he'd been doing, which was trying to convince these seeds to do something. And when he fell asleep, the universe took over. Well, of course, the universe was always working. Those seeds were always working their way up to the top of the ground, but he didn't know that. And as soon as he gave up being in control, those seeds were no longer frightened and they could grow. That's what faith of looks like to me. We overcoming our former belief system and building on success, on success, on success. And we do that. I'm losing this thing. We do that by practicing. We do that by accepting who we are and what we can do and what faith we can bring to the things. The faith of me. The faith of moving into what I can do. So we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. I always give you homework. You know that. So your homework for this week, maybe for as long as you want to keep it, is yes, to be skeptical. To trust and verify. Quit being afraid of things and to practice daily. Spiritual practice is an important part of this. Meditating, praying, reading good books, listening to music, spending time alone, falling asleep like the toad did. But having faith in others and then having faith in self and then practice that every day. Be aware of the things that you say because words become reality very, very quickly. Think positively. When you look back at this week, find 5 things that were good that came from what happened this week. Just 5 simple things. I'll bet you can. So, to finish up, this is the quote that we get to keep all week if we want to. I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways that I could not even imagine. Say that together with me, if you would. I live in the faith, power greater than I am, that nurtures and supports me in ways that I could not even imagine. Feel that. Feel the way that that feels. And know that you have the power and the faith of God in your life right now. So let's pray together for a moment. Somewhere in the middle of this prayer, I'm going to invite you to imagine that our practitioners are right here in the front of this room. And I want you to be able to imagine going up to one of these sweet practitioners and talking and touching and connecting in such a special way. Let's go inside. Oh, how sweet it is. To move into the quiet and to feel the presence of that divine right here, right now. As I breathe into this moment, and as I feel that divine presence, I recognize that that presence is always in me as me. And that this power is power I can use whenever I choose. In fact, I always do use it. In this moment, I choose to use it for good. I choose to think positive thoughts today. I choose at the end of this meeting to go outside and know the air will come back. The fires will go out. That normal will return. And that each of us has the power to know in our own lives all of those things. And so for just a moment, I invite you to go inside. Bring to your mind and to your heart the face of one of the practitioners. And because there is no distance, really, simply stand with that practitioner and hug and love. And know that they are there. That as you speak, they are hearing. And in your mind, put into this present moment your desire for this day, your greatest desire for this moment. And then in a moment's silence or so, just allow that practitioner to speak back to you, to pray with you. And now as we come back together in deep gratitude, knowing that the words that have been spoken become the law of our lives, that this day unfolds with beautifully, and releasing these words, knowing the work is done. Just in deep gratitude and a big smile, together we say, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
Good morning again. I call the ushers forward. At this time is our conscious giving, which is our centers, is another spiritual practice. This is not just about paying the bills or collecting money. Like every spiritual practice, we practice giving as a conscious choice. Whether we give online, as about half of our members are doing, during the service, we choose to give and to give from an attitude of abundance, knowing that the abundance of the universe is already available to each and every one of us. So I invite you to hold your gift over your heart and feel the truth of what you say as together we speak the giving affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be, and so it is.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. I've been set free, I'm released. I've been set free, I'm released. The burden of my past has gone away at last. I've been set free, I'm released. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me.
Now let's hear some more from Leslie Monroe, a brand new song.
Thank you. Yes, the experience with a new puppy. I've never been a dog owner before in my life, and I did not realize what I was coming into. But the biggest thing is to have this little soul that just loves me no matter what. As I'm learning how to give, to communicate so that I can train. And I've had many tears because of this, and it has mirrored back to me where I have been conditionally loving myself. So even with the meltdowns, this is a good thing, right? Yeah. This song is called If You Give It All. So many times we linger in the lost and found. We'd rather stay there comfortable than go breaking new ground. So how much would you give to discover who you are? The light that shines inside of you can reach every star if you give it all. If you give your everything, you'll find yourself surrounded with so much more. If you break down the walls that surround the quiet voice within, you'll open up the door. to so much more than what you had before you gave it all. Think of the times when you let go and you arrived, standing in a moment when you felt so alive. So lay down your broken shoes and poverty of mind. The way is made, the price is paid, and love is what you will find if you give it all. If you give your everything, you'll find yourself surrounded with so much more. If you break down the walls that surround the quiet voice within, you open up the door to so much more than what you had before you gave it all. Love will lead you all the way to the life you really want. It's a small price to pay if you give it all. If you give your everything, you'll find yourself surrounded with so much more. If you break down the walls and listen to the voice within, you'll open up the door to ever so much more than what you had before you gave it all.
Wow. What a beautiful new song. Special day. Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Reverend Myrna Hirst and her powerful message today. Thanks for the very, very special music. I look forward to seeing all of you, as many of you as possible, at Grant Park next Sunday, 12:30. That's in Murray. We'll have Mr. Fun, Chris Kirch, leading some acoustic music. We'll have some fun, some food. And I'd love to see you there. It's about time we shared some social time as a community. And being outdoors is the safest way to do that right now. So I hope you can make it. Remember to tune in today at 12:30, live chat. There's no agenda. Reverend Myrna Hirst will host just a conversation if you'd like to connect in that way. Consider yourself hugged and loved. Have a wonderful week, and take the homework to heart. Even if it's just thinking about 5 things that we can be grateful for, despite or because of what happened this past week. We wish you well. join us in singing our closing number. I invite you to stand. Please don't hold hands unless you're married or somehow in that household with this special someone next to you. But let's lift some energy by standing together and singing our closing song. Together we can change the world.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Humanity